Gopijana Vallabha Hare. Gopijana Vallabha Hare. Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Hare. Gopijana Vallabha Hare. Yashodanandana Prajanayanjana Yashodanandana Prajanayanjana Yamunatira Manachahi Yamunatira Manachahi Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, 27th Chapter, Text 11. Muktalingam Sat Abhasam Asasi Pratipajate Saha Bandhum Jalastha Abhasa Stastina Avadrishate Swabhasena Tata Surya Chalastina Divi Stitaha Jajalasta Bhasa Stastina Vidishite Swabhasena Tata Suryo Justina Devistitaha Yata jalastara bhasa Stolstena Bhadrishyate Svabhasena Tata Suryo Jalastena Devistitata Yata Jalastara Bhasa Stolstena Bhadrishyate Svabhasena Tata Suryo Jalastena Devistitata
Yata jalasta bhasa Stalastena vidrishyate Swabhasena tata suryo Jalastena divistitaha
Yata jalastaha bhasa Stalastena vidrishyate Swabhasena tata suryo Jalastena divistitaha
Yata jalasta abhasha Stalastena vidrashyate Swabhasena tata suryo Jalastena divyastite
Stalastevan drishyate Svabhasena tata suryo Jalastena divistita
as Jalastaha, situated on water. Abhasaha, a reflection. Stalastena, situated on the wall. Avadrishyate is perceived. So abhasena, by its reflection. Tata, in that way. Surya, the sun. Jalastena, situated on the water. Divi, in the sky. Stitaha, situated. Translation. The presence of the Supreme Lord can be realized just as the sun is realized first as a reflection on water and again as a second reflection on the wall of the room. Although the sun itself is situated in the sky. Purport.
The example given herewith is perfect. The sun is situated in the sky, far, far away from the surface of the earth, but its reflection can be seen in a pot of water in the corner of a room. The room is dark, and the sun is far away in the sky, but the sun's reflection on the water illuminates the darkness of the room. A pure devotee can realize the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in everything by the reflection of his energy. In the Vishnu Purana, it is stated that as the presence of fire is understood by heat and light, so the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although one without a second, is perceived everywhere by the diffusion of his different energies. It is confirmed in the Isha Upanishad that the presence of the Lord is perceived everywhere by the liberated soul, just as the sunshine and the reflection can be perceived everywhere, although the sun is situated far away from the surface of the globe.
This is how we can understand God's presence. He's, in one sense, he's everywhere because his energy is everything. There's nothing exists. Samajasya. Everything emanates from him. There's nothing outside of him. So it couldn't come from anywhere else, even though some people say everything comes from the void. But in reality, everything comes from him. This is Brahman feature. And as the super soul, situated in the heart of every living entity, he's localized. And he fulfills the desires of the living entities, and he gives direction to the soul, how to go forward. He actually wants to take the living entity who has forgotten the Lord, he wants to take him back to Godhead. And so the Lord has arranged this very extraordinary system of transmigration of the soul, that every soul, even when he's in a low state, he's progressing. Gradually, step by step, the different 8,400,000 species, he goes through these species, and in each species he learns something that he can take with him. If he takes good notes, when he reaches the human form of life, he should be ready to surrender to Krishna. That's the ultimate goal of the Varnashram system. Varnashram is to bring one to the point of loving Krishna. Varnashrama Bhagavata Parashena Paraktaman Vishmarajite Panta Nanyatata Shakarna. This is the process for the general souls. When they reach human form of life, then they can practice Varnashram. Until that time, in the lower species, they can't perform Varnashram. They just go through the eating, sleeping, mating, and defending cycle of nature. And gradually they come up. And when they come up to human form, as we mentioned, they should be ready to surrender to the Lord and his associates, his assistants. They should be able to perceive, in other words, a human being should be able to perceive the presence of God in everything, in the bodies of everyone, the heart of every living entity, and also should be able to perceive God in his transcendental human-like form. Those who are not devotees and those who are lower animals, they can't perceive the Supreme in any of these very well. Of course, they have some appreciation and they have some practical application that they know that when the sun comes out, it gets warm, you can see so many things. But they don't understand all the details. But humans are supposed to understand the details. It's like children go to school because the parents want them to be educated so they can take care of themselves. Similarly, the Lord and His associates, they want all the living entities to go up in the cycle of transmigration so they can reach human form. And then it's actually very easy. If one's born in a Vedic culture, then it becomes very easy. There are 10 reformatory activities called sanskaras, and if the parents arrange to perform these sacrifices on behalf of the child coming up, then it's very good because those sacrifices will purify him. He's made so many mistakes in the past, and now he can get free from those mistakes. Garadang Sanskar, for example. Parents, they should perform Garbhadan Sanskara as the first one for the child. That means they will purify themselves by this sacrifice. And then they will get a child, the soul will be very interested in understanding Vedic culture. You can see in some families, especially families coming from the India background, Bharata Bhumi te hoida manusya jamajar, jama sarta kari kara paru. Those who are born in Bharata Bhumi, England, are considered very fortunate because they're already interested in Vedic culture. They've already practiced it. Now they just haven't perfected it. They have a good chance to perfect it in this age. And if they take that chance, or that opportunity, then their lives are successful. And then that also makes the life of the parents successful. Because parents' duty is to make sure children become God conscious. And the king becomes also elevated because he's giving facility, he's protecting them and guiding the citizens. And if they follow his advice, Naradeva, as God, they get blessed and make spiritual advancement. King gets blessed and they share. The king gets some of the benefits of the pious activities of his citizens. And the citizens get blessed by his good instructions. This way, everyone can make spiritual progress. The most unfortunate situation is when those who take birth in the human form, they don't use it for finishing up the perfection of their varnashram. That's a great loss. They had the chance. They're right there. Like our acharyas They sing Hari Hari Vipale Janam Manusha Janamapaya Radha Krishna Navajiya Janiya Shunya Visha Kainu. All the devotees, I got this rare human form. Out of 8,400,000 species, there are only 400,000 that are in human category. And human category means you're supposed to finish up your business. Give up this material business, acting like an animal. But the devotee, he says, I failed, I didn't wish to serve Radha and Krishna. Instead I drank poison, willingly. And now I'm lost. So, but, you may be lost now, but Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahanya. He's Krishna, but he's also Radharani. So therefore, in the mood, in the complexion of Radharani, golden complexion, Lord Chaitanya appears. Krishna with a golden complexion. And he's so merciful in this form. He wants everyone to go back to home, back to Godhead. And therefore, anyone who comes in contact with any aspect of the Sankirtan movement is fortunate. Even if one just sees the Harinam party walking down the street, or he touches a book, like Bhagavad Gita as it is, if he just touches it, he makes advancement. Gyata Sukriti. And then what to speak if he takes up the regular practices? He becomes a student and he puts himself in the position of being disciplined by the spiritual master and by the scriptures. Then his life will be the most successful because that's what Krishna has been waiting for. When will my child come back? Like if some parents, if their son he runs away from home, and then he gets caught up in all kinds of messes. He associates with the wrong people. And he's very unfortunate, just like we see sometimes. Even on our doorstep here we see people unfortunate, have the opportunity to become Krishna conscious. They don't take it. So that's unfortunate. But parents are always waiting for the child to come home and they forgive any mistakes he made. That's Lord Chaitanya. He forgives all mistakes. He doesn't take any offenses. In deity worship, in the worship of Radha, Krishna, and deities, many offenses may be performed. And those who perform them, they have to be rectified. But in the worship of Gauranitai, Lord Chaitanya, Lord Chaitanya, they don't accept any offenses. That doesn't mean that the devotee should think that it's okay to commit offenses. Not okay. But if he tries his best and still there's some shortcoming, Lord Chaitanya takes the opportunity to save him anyway. It's like in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, those who engage in my devotional service, worship me in love, I carry what they lack and preserve what they have towards making progress. Any questions or?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I was wondering if Maya ever, in relation to our exchanges with devotees, can Maya influence us in those ways?
In the case of what? If
we're associating with the devotee, can Maya access that interaction? Can we? How does Maya's relationship work in our exchanges with other devotees?
Yes, Maya has the task of keeping the living entities bound up in this material world. Just like a warden. A warden is a good citizen of the nation. And the government is very pleased with the warden's work, the warden's work. But the warden has the thankless task of keeping them locked up, not giving any opportunities for them to get away. But the warden wants them to improve. He doesn't want them to just get out free and they'll go again back to their nonsense ways. No, he wants them to take this punishment because it's systematic. Yamaraj, Lord Krishna, so many demigods, 33 koti, living entities, or demigods, are there to organize this whole system of rectification. That means they have to go through some unpleasant situations to learn their lesson. If you think that you can run a nation without jails and prisons and policemen, and it's not practical. They need to be punished so they'll stop doing it. And it's like recently we were speaking with a man who was in prison for some time, a fair amount of time. And he seemed to have learned the lesson quite well because he couldn't stop talking about how he has to follow the laws, follow the rules, he has to be kind to everyone. So he got the point. He was in there and they taught him right. And now he claims he's ready to go. He's going to be a good citizen. So that's a good, that means the prisons are doing their job. But generally, prisons don't do their job so well. And the government men don't do their job so well because they're not teaching them properly. They teach them certain things not to do, of course. They say don't kill humans. But the laws don't kill at all. And they should follow that. The government should make it so that those who are in prison, they don't have to kill animals. They eat simple food. That'll be good for them. But instead they engage in eating meat, which implicates them in more. Now they have to suffer more sinful activities. Even while they're trying to be rectified for the past, they're getting involved in more sinful activities. So, in other words, the Vedic system is so well organized that if we follow it, we can't help but make progress.
So in the prison of the material world, amongst the devotees, is it proper to have the conception that, okay, I'm a prisoner, I'm a conditioned soul, and so also is this person, this devotee. But we hear that the devotee is worshipable, and we should honor them and respect them always.
A devotee, even on the level of Yamaraj, or on the level of Yudhishthira, he didn't think himself very advanced. In fact, he thought himself fallen. But he's not fallen. Very pure. So that's the nature of a devotee. An advanced devotee feels himself. In fact, the first-class devotee feels himself contaminated, and he thinks he's the only contaminated one. He sees all other living entities as better devotees than him. That's some kind of yogamaya in a sense. It's not, there's different types of yogamaya. There's yogamaya in, for example, in the spiritual world, where they think that the devotees think themselves friends of Krishna. They are friends of Krishna, but they take it that sometimes they take Krishna, they have him carry them. When they lose in the sporting, the losing party has to carry the winning party on their shoulders. Sometimes Krishna's party loses, and he has to carry. So if they knew that he was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they'd be hesitant to have him put his feet on them for fear of committing offenses to the Lord. So a devotee thinks himself not very advanced, but he thinks other devotees are very advanced. Like Radharani, she's the topmost devotee. But whenever she sees a devotee doing nice service, she brings that devotee to Krishna. My dear Lord Krishna, please accept this devotee. So, doing such nice service, much better than me. So please accept it. Put your blessings on. So Krishna can't refuse Radharani. If she, just like they have in court, if someone has committed some crime and they're sentenced to some period of punishment, if some very glorious person in the society comes up and says, can I take responsibility for them? Give him one more chance. Let me take him, and I'll make sure he doesn't do anything. Well, the judge may do that. Yeah, I'll put him under the care of this person, but don't misuse this time. So then, the judge is moved by the request of the saintly person. That's what's happening now. The spiritual master is supposed to be a saintly person, and he's taking responsibility for guiding this person back to home, back to God. Make sure he doesn't do anything wrong. Therefore, if the disciple doesn't follow properly, and he breaks the principles, he doesn't follow his vows, then the spiritual master has to suffer. So the disciple should be careful to do that, because he's making a great effort to save that soul from the cycle of birth and death. And he promises that he'll take the disciple back to Godhead, and the disciple promises also that he will follow. So that's important, incumbent responsibilities. Anything else? Thank you very much. Well,
So, you mentioned that anyone who comes in contact with the movement is fortunate and or is made fortunate. What to speak of one who takes up regular practice as a student or allows himself to be disciplined? And you made a comment that that's what Krishna is waiting for us to actually take a process of rectification voluntarily. Why? What is there that's stopping us from actually taking the process, even though we seem to want to, or we heard about it enough? Why cannot? And why can't we? And how can we start to take it?
It's our conditioning. We've been conditioned by contact with the material energy for so many lifetimes. And so now we have bad habits. Habit is second nature. We've developed bad habits. And so we're addicted. We become addicted to these bad activities. So the solution is Adho Shraddha Tata Sadhusanga. So we have to faith in God, read his words, Bhagavad Gita, then associate with the sadhus. Only, don't associate with the non-devotees. The devotee, he prays, let me take birth as an insect in the house of a devotee. At least I'll be in the association of the devotees. Let me be in that association. And once I'm in that association, I should behave nicely so I don't have to leave that association. What was the greatest fear of the devotees of Lord Chaitanya? Sometimes they were chastised by Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya, for example, he didn't like his disciples going to hear from Mayavadis. Didn't like that at all. So one of the devotees continued to go and associate with Mayavadis. Lord Chaitanya said, I don't want to see him again. Don't have him come around. So he was forbidden to come in Lord Chaitanya's association. And the followers, all the other devotees, they felt sad for that devotee. So they begged him, please give this devotee another chance. He's coming, he's coming every day and he's apologizing. And he said, Lord Chaitanya said, you can tell him he can come and see me again after 10,000 births. So they thought, oh, that'll break his heart. How will he be able to stand that? But they told him. So, but when he was told about his punishment, he began dancing in joy and happiness. And they said, wow, why are you so happy at 10,000 births? You have to wait to see Lord Chaitanya again. He said, yeah, but he's going to see me. He'll agree to see me again. It's not hopeless. In fact, he was satisfied. The Lord said it. He knew he would follow it. And Lord Chaitanya was so merciful, he said, all right, bring him in. When he found out. So yeah, the point is, we just have to stick with it. Stay with the devotees. Don't go to hear Mayavadis speak. Lord Chaitanya was so strict, he had his secretary make sure that no one who wrote something would present something with Mayavad philosophy in it. So he had the secretary. And if he found something Mayavad, he said he would chastise her. Tell him what he did wrong. I can't give this to Lord Chaitanya. This is Mayavad philosophy. Someone wrote some poetry, and he said, may Lord Jagannath, who is made of wood, something like that. So he was making a distinction that Lord Jagannath was made of wood, but wood is material. So Lord Jagannath is not made of wood. He may appear that way, but actually he's Satchidananda Vigraha. So the devotee was chastised. He learned the lesson. Then sadhusanga ta bhajana kriya, accept the position of being a servant of a bona fide spiritual master, follow his instructions. Bhajana kriya ta, then get free from the bad habits that we have, this bad conditioning we've developed. Get rid of that, start behaving properly, eat only prasadam. It's an easy system. If we start from youth, or better, we start from, as I mentioned earlier, from the Garbhadan Sanskara, where the parents practice all these purified sacrifices on behalf of the little child. So it becomes very auspicious. The child is not alone. Parents are doing their part, and the king is doing his part, the priest is doing his part, the relatives are doing their part. They're all helping him. All the demigods are helping. You've got everyone, all the good souls, all the Vaikuntha Valas, all the living entities in the spiritual world are cheering him on, so to speak, so that he can come back. Aho shadata sadhusangat bhajana kriya to nishta. Before that, anartha nivritti, he becomes free from anarthas, gives up bad habits. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.